This is Chris Spear with the nomination committee. We're conducting our Meet the Candidate with Rebecca Miller. Rebecca, how are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. We got some questions to ask you. Allow the people out here to within the association to kind of get familiar with the people that are running for the board of directors. And so let's start off. If you would introduce yourself and your operation.
Okay, I'm Rebecca Miller. I'm part of Lime Kiln Farm. We're a 5th generation century farm in upstate New York. And you're probably thinking like the Pace Salsa commercial, farmers in New York, but we live on about 200 acres and run about 50 to 70 cows, cow-calf operation mostly, and we've integrated the Aberdeens in to decrease our carcass size. I live with my husband on the farm and my 2 kids who are 4 and 7, both boys that are real energetic and love helping around the farm.
Awesome. Well, good. We'll get into our tough questions. What do you think the American Aberdeen Association does well and not so well, and what do you think that you can do to help improve?
Well, I think we've done a fantastic job of promoting the breed and getting it more well recognized with the Facebook and rebranding and starting to open up different avenues to advertise. I would say one thing that we've lacked or fell back on in the past is trying to disperse the information from the board of the directors down to the members. It's always available and it's always out there for anybody to find, but there's a disconnect on the communication in between. And as a regional president, I find I have members that say, I don't know what's going on the national level. What do we do? Where can we find that? So I think engaging every member and disseminating that information down on the individual member level is something that we could improve on. Ways that I would try to help personally right now as a president, we try to reach out to our board members and let them know you can find the minutes on the website. So I think as president or as a member of the national board, making that information more available or helping members find that information more easily.
Awesome. Next question I've got for you is, why do you want to be on the board of directors for the American Aberdeen Association?
This is actually kind of a tough question. I think I have some unique characteristics that would help with the balance and unity and cohesion of the board. Obviously, I'm a non-traditional board member in the fact that I'm from the Northeast. I don't think we've ever had a Northeast board member in the past. So I represent a different area of the region that may have a non-traditional member in the sense that we have much smaller farms and don't run bigger ranches. But I think bringing those new visions and new ideas would be advantageous for the breed. And I would like to represent everybody on the breed, big or small, in a balanced and unified way. And also being a president, I've had the opportunity to see the grassroots system work from the other side. So with our committees having ideas flow from the ground up all the way up to the board. So it's the grassroots member-led system. And I would really like to amplify that system and work on the other side of it as well.
Awesome. Well, and I guess we can kind of elaborate off of what you just went with the next question, which is, what do you feel you can offer to fulfill some of those leadership roles within the American Aberdeen Association?
It's really difficult to talk about yourself, but I think I represent breeders in an objective way, in an unbiased way. I have some unique experiences in life with my careers that I've had in the past, so I have quite a depth of knowledge when it comes to the industry, right down from the smallest farm up through large commercial operations. And I think I have sort of a breadth of experience with the things that I've seen and done and been a part of. And one of the characteristics that I think is really important that I feel that I embody is just sort of a unification, and I like everybody to get along. I like cohesion. So it's not bad to have difference of opinions, but I think I would be a unifying presence.
Our fifth question we've got for you is, as a board of director, what would be your primary focus for directing the association?
I think what I would work to help with would be promotion. I think that we do a really good job of promotion, but I think that there's also a really big opportunity out there to not just do things one way because that's the way we've always done it. And that's what sort of tends to happen in the cattle industry. So there's a lot of operations that don't see the value in our breed. And it really is a good breed with great values. It's really difficult to develop the vocabulary to say, you know, cow size has increased 200 pounds in the last 50 years from 1970, but weaning weights really haven't changed. So you really need to focus on efficiency. You know, if you're adding 200 pounds to a cow and weaning the same weight, how is that helping anybody? So we can moderate that size, bring it down, keep that weaning weight up, and get you more dollar for your cow. So I think developing the vocabulary to speak with the cattlemen and try to promote this breed on a larger level would be sort of my focus.
Awesome. Well, and you seem to be reading my mind because you're on to our sixth question. Mm-hmm. How and why do you utilize American Aberdeen genetics, and what avenues do you market your cattle in?
So we kind of dabble in it all. We initially bought Aberdeens to moderate our cow size. We run some registered Simmentals, registered Angus, and the problem we were having with beef customers is the carcass size is just too big. People can't afford it. So we bought it to moderate size. It's actually influenced our marbling and our ribeye area, which is great. Moderating the size of our cows, running a bull. So we love that. And we actually market that way. Also with environmental stewardship being an important part of our farm with limited space, people love to hear about, you know, less water, less feed, less environmental footprint. The other things that we do is we go out to 4-H events. Everybody loves these cattle, and my kids like to show, thankfully. So, you know, everybody thinks these cattle are great, and they're amazed at the structure, conformation, and the actual size and the beef you can get from such a small animal.
Awesome. Well, this brings us to our final question we've got for the night, which is, what is your greatest successes and failures within the breed, and what have you learned and changed from those experiences?
Success is kind of hard to define because everybody sort of has their own definition. I mean, you know, some people would say it's hanging a banner on your wall or having a national champion bull. And I think for me, it would be the fact that we actually have changed over our entire herd. We've integrated the cattle in and really accomplished that goal of moderating size and being stewards of the environment. And I think success for us is when you can pass those genetics on or influence a dairy breeder to use an Aberdeen bull for a low birth weight and a marketable calf, or, you know, talking to your diehard 70-year-old Angus man who will never breed anything but Angus, but then sees your calves out in the pasture and says, you know, what is that? So success to me, I would say our biggest success has probably been opening people's eyes around us to the benefits of Aberdeens and developing that vocabulary to speak with them and say, hey, these are fantastic cattle and here's why. And then failures, oh my, we've had quite a few. I think maybe one of my biggest personal failures is I'm a woman. So most of the cattlemen around us do not want to talk to me. They want to talk to my husband. And, you know, he can say, well, they do this, this, and this. But he'll defer to me and say, you got to talk to my wife because she actually knows the genetics and what's going on and what makes these cattle great. But for me, it was really difficult to develop that vocabulary. I know why they're fantastic, but to convince somebody else, a lot of the things that you would think about and talk about, you know, low birth weight, calving ease, high ribeye area, weaning weight to cow size differential, that kind of thing, you know, pounds per acre per cow's bred. And to develop that vocabulary for me was really difficult. And I think it was a failure on my part to communicate why these cattle are so good.
Awesome. Well, Rebecca, before we finish up here, I'm going to allow you to have an open mic session. Is there anything you'd like to say or anything else you'd like to contribute?
I just would like to say thank you to everybody that's going to get out there and vote. It's really important to have a say in who's on your board and to be involved in your association.
Well, awesome. Well, Rebecca, I do appreciate your time this evening. I do, and I hope you have a great one. And we will be and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.